Third speaker today is the lovely Liz Mutasa, also from here in Perth. An occupational therapist by training, she is very well aware of how obstacles are put in the way of people who require extra support, extra access. Those of us who are classed as disabled. So she's going to talk to us at the moment today on We Are All Temporarily Abled. Liz, take it away.
Thanks, Wendy. Good afternoon, everyone. It seems like we have a very common theme amongst us, which is belonging. And I'm going to touch on that in a minute. But my presentation today is going to touch mainly around that we are all temporarily abled. How many of us here, if you're comfortable, can identify themselves as having a disability? Just raise your hand if you're comfortable. How many of us have had an experience where a loved one has lived with a disability? Okay. How many of us here feel that our abilities are permanent, that we're always going to be able to do whatever we want? Nobody. Oh, all right, interesting. So why I touch on the fact that our abilities are temporary is because it's nature. When you're born, your body goes through different changes. So throughout the different life stages, what you're able to do when you're a baby, when you're a toddler, when you're a young adult, when you're an older adult is completely different. So our human ability goes through processes throughout lifetime. The reason why I come to you this afternoon is to bring in awareness in regards to how our abilities are being disadvantaged in our environment. It's a ticking time bomb that, with COVID having recently happened, I mean, we're still right in the midst of the pandemic. There are people who are suffering from long COVID. That's another area that we need to think clearly about in terms of our ability. We have been affected throughout history by different pandemics, by different illnesses that have led to our abilities reducing. So I want you to come with me, to come along this journey to actually figure out how we can work together to improve our environment so that tomorrow we'll still be able to have the ability to function as we want to. So you may wonder, so with temporary ability, what is that about? Why does that matter, right? Some of you might think, oh, isn't it a person with disability problem? Why does that concern me? I'm fine. But it should concern you because, as we know, ability is here today and is gone tomorrow. Whether that's through an accident, whether that's through an illness, whether that's through just aging, we have to be prepared because it is coming, the day that you will need your environment to work for you. Why environment? Environment is very important, just as it's important for your mindset, for your health. The environment that you plant yourself in is very important in terms of where you go from now, in terms of how you align yourself with your life goals. Look around you just now, where you are. Do you feel that your environment is a reflection of you? Do you feel that your environment is a reflection of where you want to go with your life? It's important. Just to give an example. You know, when people go to bed, we're so not used to it. We get our phones, we go to bed with them, we sleep there. The first thing we do in the morning, we reach our phone, we go on social media, we scroll, right? And then sometimes we get upset for it because of whatever we have come across on the phone. But have we actually thought, maybe if I hadn't taken my phone to bed, I might have not reached for it in the morning. And I might not have a sucky morning because of just having looked at my phone. It's things like that that we take for granted, but they actually affect how our lives are. So that's just one example. Just going to give you a backstory in terms of how, for me, it came like my aha moment in how I realized environment really matters in terms of my own abilities. So born and raised in Zimbabwe, my lovely mom is actually joining us this afternoon, which is fantastic. Yeah, she, at one point, so she was a big family lover. So at one point, we were about 18 of us and in one household. So you can imagine the chaos, the love that was going on in that house. What was happening in that time was something that it seeded something within me that led to how I now view the world. Because in such environment, I was able to realize that we are all different. We are all going to have different abilities in terms of where we are in the life stage. So we had from newborn all the way to 90, my granddad. And then we had people that were unwell, that needed a lot of input from hospitals, from nurses. We had people that had impairments, chronic health conditions. But in that, I never looked at it as, oh, they're disabled. Poor them. No, I saw it as part of life, part of being human. There was nothing about it that spoke, oh, this person can't do that, therefore they shouldn't be allowed to do anything. It was such an inclusive environment that it promoted our human nature. It understood the fragility of our human nature. It didn't look at our ability as something to be pitied on. It looked at it as something very normal. There's nothing wrong with having temporary abilities because that's life. So even when I was listening to Tracy talking about us versus them, it's very true. A lot of the labels that we give, that word people with disability, it's a label that really, when you think about it, what does that mean? Because no one is born with a disability. We are born with different impairments, just like anyone. Some have severe, some have less severe, but no one is born perfect. We all are born into these bodies and we're trying our best to work in them. So environment, our abilities, the interaction between that matters. As we go through with accessibility, you may wonder, why are we talking about having access into this environment? So again, that interaction between human ability and environment, it's the quality that we need to look up at. It's the quality that we need to address, because as much as there's that interaction, we haven't actually looked at how best can we have this environment be accessed by us. So that's where I come in as an accessibility and inclusion consultant. 3 key points that I want you to take with you is, firstly, human ability is fragile. Human ability changes. Secondly, accessibility of our environment is an all of us problem. We should care because we understand that we're human first. Human first means different abilities. So you and I, we got a job to do, because as we address the need for accessibility in our environment, we are also fostering inclusion. And like I said, what Kate and Tracy had mentioned, that belonging, you can't have that belonging if you're not included. The more we keep identifying and labeling each other as that group, that group, that group, yes, we're trying to belong somewhere, but we're also secluding each other. We're one, we're a human race. I always laugh when I hear people talk about, just a sidetrack, people of color, just for an example. And I go, what does that mean? We all have color, right? And I always laugh when I hear people say, oh, LGBTQ community. And I'm going, what does that mean? I kissed a girl once in my childhood. Do I have to be in that community so that people can go, oh yeah, you belong there? No, I'm human. I'm going through experiences in life, and we should all be accepted to go through life because that's what we're here for. So as we close off, I would like you guys to take this opportunity to go and subscribe to my new YouTube channel that's called Elizabeth, where we're going to be talking about everything accessibility, inclusion, and empowerment. Because I believe that in order for you to live your life to the fullest, you need to be empowered to design the life that you want to lead. So thank you so much, and we'll be seeing you soon.